So, hi, hello, welcome to the stream. I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks. I last streamed. So it's great to be back. I've been to London, and this is my souvenir from London. I bought for myself. I really love the underground. I find it fascinating. I really enjoy it. So this is my little momentum. It's like a huge jigsaw puzzle for me. I love it. I love it. Colours and the connecting, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, I'm back streaming. For those who aren't aware, I've stopped doing the Sunday morning stream due to a change in my childcare arrangements. So I'm just now, at least for now, just doing the Thursday evening. So it's still Thursday, it's still 8:30, it's still through YouTube. You still call or message through Skype. It's all still the same, except that it's just on Thursdays. It could be a long-term thing, I'm not sure. But for now, at least, it's going to be just Thursdays. So I'm very pleased to be streaming this evening. Feels like ages. 2 weeks. I need a clip, but I haven't got one. Okay. Behind the ear it goes. So welcome to the stream. I wasn't sure what to call it, so I've called it what I've called it. Dropping in, dropping out, I think. Yeah. London calling. Dropping in, dropping out. Okay. Oh, let me just turn my phone off. So the beautifulest thing about non-duality, I'm really hot. The beautifulest thing about non-duality is that it's immediate, it's right here. What's being pointed to or pointed out is right here. And that's the most wonderfulest thing about this message. It's not something in time, in the future, that you'll have to work towards arriving at. It's not in the past, so you haven't missed it or got it wrong or anything like that. It's so immediate, what's being pointed to. It's fresh, it's alive, and it can't not be. And this is the joy of awakening, this joy of this message of waking up. This is the happiness that is longed for. Not something, not happiness for the person or happiness for that story of a person. Not happiness in obtaining an object, obtaining a thing. But true happiness, which isn't dependent upon things, emotions, feelings, experiences, people, success, achieving, a happiness beyond those things, a freedom beyond those things. I mean, as humans, we naturally want to move towards pleasure, move towards happier feelings or happier experiences or these pleasures. It's a natural desire, a natural movement that happens in all of creation, that happens in all of this manifestation. There's a moving towards pleasure, a moving towards having a drink, and moving towards not being hungry, and moving towards being clothed and warm, to being appreciated, to having a friend or a partner, to having joy, having money, having happiness. But we believe that peace is found in those things. We believe that permanence is found in those things. Whereas this experience of being human, this experience of form, is opposites. It's changing, it's moving. It's opposites. So this illusion of being able to find permanence in form from the offset, it is crazy, but it's the way in which this happens. It's the way in which this moves as humans. There's an identity that forms, an energy that believes this is me, this is a limitation, I am someone, I am a thing, I am an object, I am a story, I am moving through time. And in that is the seeking to find wholeness, to find permanence, to find peace and happiness through objects, through forms. So what is truly longed for then isn't pleasure, but peace and happiness, regardless of what is or isn't appearing. And so this dropping in, I believe, is referring to dropping into the body, dropping into this experience, the fullness of this, whether it be whatever's appearing, that this is it, this is enough, this is everything, whether it be pain or pleasure. There seems to be this running away, trying to avoid and resist what is happening, running away in this story identity to escape what is happening, the uncomfortability that's happening. That's natural, I guess, in a way, to try and escape uncomfortability. But that running is endless. Because, as I said, this is changeful. The pain and pleasure is changing. So to always run away from pain is kind of going to be endless. Because there will always be a form of pain, a form of darkness, a form of not pleasure. And so this is a dropping in, a collapsing in, where everything is welcome, everything appears here. Everything appears here. Whether we label it, the mind labels it as good or bad, it appears. And our labeling is irrelevant to it, it appears. And this is love. The acceptance, the openness, the receiving of everything. And that isn't a personal love, isn't a personal doing. As a story, a character, you can't accept everything. You'll have preference, you'll have resistance, you'll have a yes, you'll have a no. So this isn't a personal doing. This happens beyond the person, regardless of the person, regardless of that story of someone. This dropping in to what is happening, or this removal of this avoider of what's happening, this removal of the reporter of what's happening, and the brutal rawness of what's happening. And this is beauty. Beauty, where everything is. We want to avoid this at all costs. We don't want the darkness, we don't want the blood and the gore and the pain and the poverty and the hardship. But this is love, all of it. There is no preference. And this is also the dropping out There's no preference. All of it is allowed. You are not something here. You are not limited to a form. These forms appear and disappear. They aren't you. They aren't what you are. You are not found in this waking reality. You are a mystery. What's looking is a mystery. It's unknown, unknowable, unfindable, unlabelable. And this is the peace and the freedom from suffering, from that story of someone. That story of someone is a reality, is you. A dropping out of that identification with form, identification with thought. You are free. What you are is free. It doesn't have a history or a past. It doesn't have a future. So you can't really fit this communication, this message, you can't really fit it into a nice, neat little package. The mind would love to have a nice, neat little package that it can know and understand and have and own. But this is magical. Magical. It's beyond the mind. It's beyond reason. We use language, we use reason, we use words to try to explain it in our human way of understanding, our human language, our human concepts, our human ideas. That's all that this animal has, of course. So it's used to try to communicate this, but it's not really communicated in the words, in the ideas, in the interpretation, in the language. Things are pointed to and described, but it can't be contained in that. These words are just words, and the meaning of those words are other words, other thoughts. So it's still bound within the same thing: language, meaning, interpretation, ideas. This is beyond that. It's beyond that. It's the actual experience. It's not abstract. It's the actual experience. And this is what is longed for, strangely enough. The actual experience is longed for. You could say it's longed for by the person, by the idea of a person. And it seems that way, as if the person wants to wake up, but the person is a dream. The person can only live as a dream, and it wants to be a dream. It wants to live. It wants to live as I know, I see, I understand. So it wants to stay in that reality. But this isn't about the person. This isn't about that story, that voice in their head. That can only be an appearance appearing. But there is a longing for this, for the actual experience. A longing to be free from the identification with that suffering story, that prison of a story of me, a story of I. Such a beautiful message. Such a beautiful message. It rips your heart open. And sometimes here there's a wanting to close again. A wanting to close. Then it rips it open again. It rips it open. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's the habit of being closed, the habit of being limited. Oh, I have an itch, sorry. Itchy itch. But it rips the heart open. This is such a cool mug. Really, really love it. Look at that. It doesn't show the whole tube thing, but it shows part of it. So we have no questions at the moment, so I'll just sit a bit longer and then, yeah, see. So there's no questions, but I don't feel to end the stream yet. So I'll just sit a bit longer. Wayne, hi Wayne. I spoke to you before. Is this the death? Is this death? Yes. Yeah, I can see I have. Is this death? Is this death? I'm not sure. Like, I could say it is death, then I could also say that there is no death. Like, it is death, as in death isn't going to happen to you. Death isn't going to happen to you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like, you were never alive. You never existed as a form that could die, that could end. Only forms are born. The body was born, the body won't die, the body will end. But that's not what is speaking. or what's looking. This body isn't looking. It's an instrument, it's a form. It's a robot, a machine. We believe we are someone inside the body, inside the machine. We are operating it, controlling it. We're responsible, and that causes so much suffering, that I am someone in this machine, responsible for its actions, its choices, its thoughts, its feelings. And I have to protect myself from the death of this machine. The machine dies, I die. And this message is questioning that deep not idea, but that deep belief, that deep feeling, contraction, that you are somebody, that sense of being in the body, attached to the body, attached to the head. So this worry of death pertains to that one who feels it's alive in the first place. Who's alive in the first place? Who's experiencing this? Who's thinking this? Who's having this experience? We believe this story of me, I am. But that story isn't always appearing, and yet this still is. So that can't be true. That can't be true. I dropped my phone. Is there no awareness? Is there no awareness? I haven't really mentioned awareness, I don't think. I don't really talk about awareness. Is there no awareness? I mean, what does awareness even mean? Awareness. Like, these words are really hard to know what people mean by conscious or awareness. Obviously, there is some level of consciousness or awareness. Like, how do you even describe that? What that is? Like aliveness. like a registering, or awareness. Like I've got a feeling for it, but I can't. I'm not sure I can describe what it is, but I've got a feeling for what awareness is. So in that case, yes, there is awareness. Awareness appears, but that awareness is not what you are either. It isn't. It's an appearance. It must be an appearance. It must be a form, a thing that appears in this world, in this waking reality. Awareness, a registering, or a aliveness, a beingness. And that's often pointed to this consciousness, this pure beingness. But that can't be the way that I feel it, is that must also be something appearing. So it is it, because everything that appears is it. It is it, a part of this. But that's not who you are. But it is who you are. But it's not who you are. You are everything, but not a thing. What's looking isn't awareness. But I'm not sure how you mean that word, who you heard it from, or what they mean when they say awareness. So I don't know. People speak about these things differently. But that's the way that I would speak about it. Wayne is typing. Are you from Ireland, Wayne? Muckbrain. Did the illusion of self fall away there? He's still typing something. Oh, your granddad was from Ireland, okay. Did the illusion of self fall away there? This question I get sometimes. It never gets kind of easier to answer. Like I'm reluctant to like make it into a like a what's the word? Not finite, but an absolute thing. I'm reluctant to say. I always prefer to say I don't know, or it isn't the point of what I'm talking about, or how do I feel now? Let me think. Let the delusion of self fall away there. It's just, I think what it is, that question just seems so like abstract and like made up. It doesn't seem like it's. I know what you mean, because obviously this is spoken about in this message, this illusion dissolving or being seen through or collapsing. Yeah, I don't really feel anything to that question. It just seems so abstract. I could just say yes, or just to make it easy, but I don't really. Don't know. It doesn't feel right to say yes. Um, my picture's wonky. My picture isn't straight. Yeah, sorry. I was typing again. It isn't. It isn't so much that it's fallen all away. It's more like it wasn't ever true. It wasn't true. It wasn't ever true that there was a person. That there was someone separate. That was never true. So there has been a change in that in that that isn't the experience anymore. That this character, this human, is a separate thing appearing. That isn't the experience anymore. This character appears. You could even say stories appear, but they aren't someone. They aren't someone. They aren't being held to be someone. They're equally a part of this as the traffic sounds, as the computer, as the light, as the phone. Yeah. It came out. Oh, he's still typing. Yeah, it's more like a unity. This is one. This is not separate and divided. So whatever's being experienced or felt or appearing is part of this. And it isn't me, them, or me, that. It's everything. Hi, Lafton. Lafton. That's a good name, Lafton. Is that your real name, Lafton? It's Lofton. It's spelled Lafton. Was it a shock when the illusion of self was first seen? Was it a shock when the illusion of self was? It's always a shock. It's always a shock. What I mean is, it's always a shock. It's always a shock. It's always a shock. It's always a shock. Sorry, it's always a shock that this is happening, that life is happening. That life is happening. Okay, I don't know, maybe because I'm quite a new speaker, but it's always a shock. Like, it's not, didn't happen in the past in time, and so now it's like, it's always this, it's always freshly appearing, it's always happening. It's a shock that these words are coming out, that these hands are moving, there's a wall, there's a head, there's a camera, there's noises. How can this not be a shock? That this is appearing, that this is. Yeah, I don't know how it, yeah. But was it a shock that there was no self? That's the same thing, really. There is no self. This is happening. This is appearing. Where is that self you're talking about? You're imagining. Other than that, an imagination, an idea of someone, an entity. Hi, Javi. Thank you for your question. Is seeking, this is Javi, is seeking for enlightenment and not seeing wholeness also complete? Yeah, yeah. It's also what's happening. It's also what's happening. It just doesn't feel, it just feels constricted and tight and awful. Just feels awful. To be identified with a mind, a restless mind, a mind that's looking for rest, looking for wholeness. But yeah, it's still a part of this. It's appearing, so it's a part of this, part of wholeness, appearing as lacking, appearing as separate, appearing as needing to find something. Got a low battery, 33%. So yeah, it's still wholeness, and the pain of that is wholeness, and the joy of that is wholeness, and the frustration of that is wholeness. It can't be escaped from. This is wholeness. Hi, Peter. I just saw a name saying we're frog. Well, I can't see it. We're frog. Thank you. There is an explanation. Exclamation mark. Peter is typing. Whenever I see it in the on the screen, like, ooh, that's a nice cup. Who's this now? Oh, maybe he stopped typing. Okay, so thank you for joining the stream. I am back next Thursday if things work that way. Back next Thursday at 8:30, so you can ask questions then through Skype. Yeah, so thank you. Have a good week. Bye.